Welcome to Cyber Inspiration Podcast. My name is Evgeniy. I have been around cybersecurity for the last 20 years and I have a lot of experience working with a variety of cybersecurity vendors. My main work is vendor consulting and cybersecurity advisory for companies. As part of my passion in technology and cyber, I've been intrigued to learn how a company starts. I started the podcast to understand the thinking process and what motivated people to start their own company. This podcast is affiliated with Security Architecture Podcast. I have a pleasure today to talk to Omar about his company and his journey. Omar, can you please tell me about yourself and the company?
Hi, Evgeniy. So my name is Omar Romero. I am the CEO of Rose IT Services Limited. We are an MSP based in Trinidad and Tobago. We service clients here locally with IT, business continuity, cybersecurity solutions, and we also help other companies in the Caribbean and in North America as well.
It's definitely a different market versus North America and Trinidad. I understand different customers, different pain points, and I'm guessing even the amount of product is a bit different as well. So there's a lot of navigation and a lot of adaptation you have day by day.
Yes and no. So I think that there are a lot of commonalities between both markets because having to manage an IT department is just having to manage an IT department, right? So typically what we would see with a client in North America is very similar to what we have here. If that's on-premise infrastructure and users and applications and support, that much is pretty consistent. But what is different, I think the main difference is the culture. So understanding that the way you interact or deal with clients and stakeholders and users here in the Caribbean may be a bit different than the way you deal with it in North America and even in other countries in the Caribbean. Like we actually, even though we are in the Caribbean, we do have different cultures and different nuances here.
We're definitely going to dive into this part. I'm very intrigued to learn what's different. And for people that are listening, if you're ever going to be interested in that, you probably want to know. Or you're talking to someone. So tell me a bit of the history. Company been around for a long time. What was the motivation? What was the inspiration that triggered to start the company?
So I've been in IT, probably about 25 years now. Just saying that sounds like I'm aging myself a bit. But I originally started IT here in Trinidad. I think I took the most common path. I did my degree in IT and then I started working for a company in software support. And I moved to the UK sometime around 2005 and worked for a company called SunGuard, one of the biggest IT companies there. But I was in a database analyst role. And then in 2008, I moved to the US and that was primarily with the goal of doing my MBA. And I think at that time I did my concentration was entrepreneurship and IT because I knew that I wanted to do something on my own in IT. I always had that passion. But things changed pretty quickly in 2008 because 2008 in North America, in the US, was when there was the big crash, the big global financial crash. And at the time, I was working for a company in Soho that was into fashion recruiting. So it was a company in the recruiting sector. And that hit them really hard because I don't know if you remember what that time was like, but anything to do with recruiting and anything in those industries, like literally within the space of that crash happening, we went from a company that was probably perhaps 100 employees spread across 7 offices in America, 1 office in the UK, to dwindle down to like half of its workforce. This happened within a month. Our IT department was 5 people. It was an IT director, it was a manager, it was 3 of us technicians who were handling it, and that became just myself and the IT manager who was responsible for everything. I was just starting the MBA at that point, and I had planned to leave the job to focus solely on that. But then when this happened, I was like, well, I might as well just hold on to this because I'm not sure what's happening here. So that was a really challenging time because I was doing a full-time MBA, but working part-time in IT, helping to support this company with 7 branches and 1 branch in the UK. But I think I learned a lot because I was like, if 2 of us can keep all this together, then I know how it could be done. It's just to find out how to do it on my own.
Great. And I'm wondering, the decision made, I guess you didn't raise money, we're just doing it as a service, but you need to hire people, you need to find customer. Tell me more about this part.
Yeah. So what happened is that so while I was doing my MBA, one of my professors who I was speaking to and kind of giving him my idea of like how could I, what would be a good approach to take? He introduced me to a company in Manhattan that was doing managed IT services at the time. I knew nothing about MSPs or that model or anything like that. I just knew about working in an IT department. And I met with the owner of that company, and he was really generous with his time. And he showed me the tools he used and the business model and the way that particular things works. And it really hit the spot for me in terms of my idea of what IT should look like. And that's when I took a decision to move back to Trinidad because I felt I had never seen anything like that. I saw it in the US, but I've never seen that in Trinidad and Tobago. And I thought that is something I could bring back and set up there. Now, I started as a one-man shop. No employees, just in a spare bedroom, one computer. I got my, initial stack together, and that's how I started the company there and started looking for anybody who basically, needed, a better level of outsourced support than a freelancer. And I picked up my first client, I think, by referral within like 4 months of starting the company. But it was, yeah, for a while, it was just me doing everything.
Yeah. Are you still in touch with the person in US? I'm wondering, the one that explained to
He,
you how it's.
he, he actually sold his company not too long after. So he was, the name of the company was Greenhouse IT. And then there was another company as well who I got referred to. I don't know if you're familiar with CMIT. It's a franchise MSP
Mm.
company in the US. They have a lot of franchises. His franchise was in Upper Wall Street. And he was also very generous in showing me some of the ropes. And I'm still in touch with him. We actually worked together on a client where we supported a client. We supported here from Trinidad and Tobago, a client in New York, and they gave us our boots on the ground for that client. So we still, years after that happened, I reached out to him and we worked together.
So if there is a franchise and you knew it's a franchise, why didn't you open a franchise and why do you open your own?
Well, for one, it was a US based franchise. And the second thing, I guess, that's a really good question, but
And I
it's
guess it's
something.
not just for you, because people listening to us right now, they may want to
Yeah,
start their own business. They say, I want to start a restaurant. Do I do a franchise? Do I start my own? Or anything else? It's
I
a
think that's a really good question because the franchise model, I think, has a lot of pros because everything is pretty much done for you. So they will give you your marketing, they will give you your billing system, they will give you your sales deck, they'll give you your tools, and you just pay a fixed cost and then you do the work. So I think it's a good model. But for me, first of all, I was in Trinidad, so that was in the US, and we have like currency variations where it probably wouldn't make financial sense. But then as well, I don't know if I would have had the latitude to do things like to really have our own secret sauce, right? Or like the own way we would want to deliver IT support. Like it would be very structured in terms of a model of delivering what we do.
you start working by yourself, you're growing with the customers. In one point, you want to start hiring people.
Yeah.
And you need to trust that they're going to pick up the way you work. I want to
Yeah.
listen, like, how do you hire people and they're going to be able to be similar to you, maybe different as a person, but the approach will be similar.
I think like any business owner, had to learn that the hard way, and that you hire, like, for me, I started as a one-man shop, and then when I added one client, two clients, three clients, and it started becoming difficult to service those clients on my own, started looking for people to hire. But then as a one-man shop, it's difficult to get someone who is probably has a technical experience that I have that can replicate what I do for salary that I can pay. So I think that you start to get creative about who you bring in and maybe train them up and be more flexible with maybe how you work with them. Like it was very close and relationship based, and but still looking for experience. And I think on some aspects, experience, while good, could also, especially the MSP being different to anything that someone has done before. The experience we got was like someone coming out of a traditional IT department. And I always say an IT specialist and an MSP is a totally different type of job. Because in an IT department, you may have one specific thing that you do, whereas for an IT specialist, like you might have to do everything, right? You might have to fix a computer one day, fix a printer the next day, troubleshoot Office 365 another day, look at a security concern another day. So you really have to be. I have been a jack of all trades. That person has to be like that. So I think
And now we're also adding cyber for the last few years as well,
we add in cyber, we add in cloud, we're gonna be adding AI. I don't know. In the future, that's just how it's gonna go. There's gonna be more things to add and more things that you have to learn, right? So you have to be really, really flexible and adaptable.
Are you constantly learning? How do you keep the motivation?
So I think that what really, really helped me is formally investing in a documentation tool and really getting our procedures and the way we do things out of my head and into somewhere where everybody can find it. And I think COVID really changed that, because COVID, to be really frank, was when we had a realization that I could possibly not be here, but my business has to continue to survive for my customers, my staff, my family. And it was like, all right, I had a directive for all the staff that anything that you have in your head that you own, only you and you know, needs to be documented and placed somewhere that everybody could find it. I think in IT, everybody knows, I have a stick of chewing gum that's keeping something together by this client, because I did that time and I just know I did that to fix it. But those things are always like cause problems, because then someone else has to figure out what you did, right? So that really helped with when we bring in new employees now or new techs, then we can say, well, okay, this is where you will find all the information you need. This is where your how-tos are. This is where your knowledge base is. This is where your procedures are. And that's how we could pass those things on for people to do. I think, yeah, another thing is now, the way things are now is nothing like when I started. Like what you can do with automation, the amount of information that is available to you to troubleshoot anything, right? Back then it was like call Microsoft support and get on to someone in India and then step through an issue, where now there's so many resources, and now with ChatGPT and AI that gap is a lot smaller, right?
It's so faster.
Yeah, it's a lot faster and you can get to solutions much quicker.
Do you believe in work-life balance?
I do, as it's not easy. This work-life balance is the traditional idea of work-life balance. If you want to say 8-hour days or not working on weekends, that does not exist.
No, I know.
You've been cyber, so you would know that as well.
Yeah,
you can come
I had many nights with support, so I'm familiar with the idea. Now, I do want to go on two parts. So one, we all sometimes hit the wall. We all sometimes have very bad days. Like, what do you do? How do you get back? Meditating, working out, spending time with the family. What helps you to get the energy back?
So I think that sort of leans into the question with work-life balance. And this is a conversation I was actually having with my wife, because she as well works with me in the company, and we were having that chat, like how difficult it is at times, and with the amount of responsibilities we have, because beyond the IT, there is things like client relations and sales and marketing and fixing the website and running the office and managing the staff. So it can get really crazy at times. But then I have my family. I have two amazing kids, and I do get to spend a lot of time with them. I see them every morning. I drop them to school. What has helped me a lot is really structuring my calendar and blocking out certain times which are non-negotiable for family. So like, I get to take my kid to football twice a week, and that calendar is just blocked off where I would not take anything. Or we travel a lot. My kids have been able to see a lot of the world where I have the opportunity to do that. And behind that, there's no balance, because while they may be on vacation, I am still working. Like if we're on the other side of the world and here in Trinidad, it's 8 a.m., but it's 2 a.m. there. I still have to be online for that time, right? But, I mean, what an amazing opportunity to give them, right? So maybe that's just the
Agree.
cost of it. Maybe that's just that's what balance is. That's like, that's just
You
what
lose
it,
somewhere else, you win somewhere
yeah,
else.
exactly.
You mentioned communication style, and I'm very big fan of communication and soft skills. Tell me more. How Trinidad is different? How you see when you're talking to somebody from US and back home, what do you need to understand? What do you need to explain? How do you need to market yourself?
So maybe I share a bit about I think our culture here in Trinidad. Like I think we're very easygoing people. We I think we are comfortable speaking to any and everybody. We're a very multicultural society. We don't really have hangouts. Like we're just cool, laid back, and friendly. And I think when dealing with the clients, it's more if we deal with clients or people in the US, it's a bit more direct and it's a bit more to the point, and and there's a good side of that as well because we can get things done a lot faster. We need this done and we need this done by this time, and it's a lot more heavily based on our SLAs and maybe our KPIs and reporting. So there's more emphasis on that where it's not as big a deal here. But it's something we actually have to talk about and understand that for US clients, make sure that those reports are in, make sure that you're hitting those targets, make sure that you can reference data. But I would say that I think one advantage of it is that from what I see in the way that MSPs service their clients in the US and is that there's less about personal touch to it. Like if a user has a problem, you go into a system and it's automated and it's email and it's, whereas we will talk to the person and we will, how is your day going? How can we help you? What problem are you having? Why don't you try this? Let me know if everything is okay. So I think that's a nuance different. And there are even differences in the Caribbean, but just understanding who you're speaking to.
Fair, fair. What about dark side? I'm sure you had failures. I'm sure you had bad experiences without naming
Every
customers, but share something that kind of, oh my God, I don't want it to happen again, and I learned from this.
I would say one of the things, maybe if I look back in that, in like when we started growing, one of the challenges was that, if you start as a one-man shop, you're really present for your customers. And as you start to grow, you can't be as present as you will. And maybe you're managing that relationship with clients and that managing their expectations and maybe even being able to listen a bit better and understand that when our relationship might have changed, maybe, maybe it's something that we could have done better, or maybe we were not showing up the way that we probably did in the past, and maybe that's what they expected, and explaining why and stuff like that. That is a tough thing. I think on the technology side, I think technology has been changing so rapidly, right? So being able to keep up with that and cybersecurity has become so much more a big part of our business. I mean, there's a time when we would just give our customers basic antivirus and we would monitor that, and that was enough, right? Now there's so many different things to consider, and then it's been really, really tough to move our clients as well and help them to understand that they need to be well aware of that. Those are really difficult conversations to have. And also on the technical side, it's really taxing. It's so much more that you have to keep your eyes on, and so much more alerts and so much more visibility you need that, it can make it very hard and make the field of IT very difficult.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. It
Mhm.
was a lot of fun. You're
Mhm.
absolutely right about the work personality and communication style. It was good and fun. So thank you for joining.
All right, Evgeny. Thanks for having me.